Why a cartographer? Well, cartographers are those who prepare maps. And the geopolitics are moving so fast in the last decade or so that that map keeps changing. But what is there, what we can see, is that it's moving towards the Indian Ocean. We are again becoming the most important region in the world. If you look at the Indian Ocean, well, virtually everyone is there other than Brazil. There's India, of course, and you find Japan has been here from about the 70s, the first to be here. China has come in, US is here. Well, as I said, all the BRICS are here except for Brazil. The Europeans have come here. Well, UK came in here and they left, and they want to, I don't know if they're coming in again or crossing it to go to the Pacific. And finally the Russians, they are all here for different reasons. So the game is getting played out here. Some feel Ukraine is the main theater. I don't think so. I think the Indian Ocean is where everyone is. So that's why we have to look at the Indian Ocean. And there are the questions that Ganesh has posed. You forgot one, the sixth, environment. Climate change, environment, and the minerals is going to be very, very important and play an important role. Where are we? Why are we? What's the trend? Well, we sort of represent the non-Western world. The dismantling of the empires took place in the Indian Ocean, be it both the British Empire and the Dutch Empire were both dismantled in the Indian Ocean. In case of the French, they dismantled it everywhere else, but they knew Indian Ocean was important enough. So they left a few more islands, which have now become a part of France. But it's that trend that is coming here. From here came the Colombo powers. From Colombo powers we went to Bandung, and that laid down the non-aligned movement. Then we brought in the Indian Ocean as a zone of peace, the IORA itself, and the Jakarta Concord, which again re-emphasized the Indian Ocean as a zone of peace. Now what do we have here? We have the whole Sino-American rivalry into the Indian Ocean. And that's the trend that we have. How are we going to look at it? It covers both your security and part of the, and also part of the economic issues. On the other hand, there's also a new factor which has come in the last 2 months. The question of Israel coming in and the bombing of Iran. So that's also a new player that you've got into those areas. These are the ones that will decide what the future is going to be, both here and of the world. Firstly, the Indo-Pacific. Now, what is the Indo-Pacific? Or to be asked, what is the boundary of the Indo-Pacific? Do we dissect the Western Indian Ocean in half, or do we go up to the East Africa and South Africa? This is the first. Only now it seems to be clearer, but different countries have different definitions of the Indo-Pacific and what it should be. So within the Indo-Pacific, you also have the Quad. Now again, what is the Quad? Indians have said it's not a military alliance. But the fact is that in some of the one of the documents, especially in Pentagon and some of the other thinking, they talk of it as in terms of military agreement. And there are all the other military arrangements that go on. So what is because we have all taken on the definition, one of the Jakarta Concord, and secondly the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific. If that is so, the first trend is it going to be peaceful? And within the Indo-Pacific, what is not clear, what is the role of the IOPZ? So these are issues that has to be worked out here. Secondly, the BRI. Whether you like it or not, the BRI seems to be here to stay. And many countries are members of the BRI. So how do the different parties live together, whether it be the BRI, whether it be the other countries, those who are for or against. But the fact is the BRI is here as much as the Americans are in Diogo Garcia. So those are some of the issues that have to be done. And then it comes into the question of security of the main sea lanes. Now we are all committed to UNCLOS and to the fact that the freedom of navigation. Is this going to change? Is the sea going to be a part of a conflict if it takes place between the different rival powers? And the bigger issue is, are we going to get submerged into, are we going to get involved into a Taiwan crisis? No one here in Indian Ocean wants to see any issue of Taiwan coming into our part of the world. That I think most are unanimous. So these are some of the issues that we have. Then a new issue that has come up, the Israel's bombing of the Iran. I am not going to the details of it except to say that all of us think not only Iran, other countries should not have the nuclear bomb, but we differ on one issue, whether Iran had really got their nuclear enrichment to a level where they were about to make a nuclear bomb. In our part of the world, the answer is no. Then who decides who comes in? Chancellor Merz said that Israel did the dirty work. So he decides who comes in. If an outsider can decide who comes into the Indian Ocean, then Russia can decide who comes into Ukraine or the Balkan states. You can't have it both ways. It has to be in one way. So that's the main issue. Why you have come into the Indian Ocean area, but the IORA nations have not been consulted. So these are the trends that's developing. And then actually the whole question of the theory of Admiral Mahan that he who controls the Indian Ocean also controls he who dominates the Indian Ocean controls the ocean. But then, why is it that no country before that ever wanted to control the Indian Ocean? All our countries. It was only there for trade. What mattered was whether you control the countries or what your relations were with the countries around the Indian Ocean, the littoral states. That matters. So the Chinese have the BRI, the Indians are going ahead with Saga. But if you pull your aid out of all those countries and you deny them the access you gave to their markets, then the chances of holding it become that much more difficult. That's one of the realities that we will have to face in this area. So I thought I would just raise these issues and then get on to the next one, the one on the environment. Why did the cartographer bring in the Himalayas? But it is important. Firstly, of course, India, China, Pakistan is found there. But second, but more than that, is the fact that two of the major religions that influence our part of the world, Hinduism and Buddhism, started there. And that has an impact. And more than anything else, as the Himalayas melt and the waters come down from the Indus, the Brahmaputra, the Ganges and the Irrawaddy, what's the impact going to be in our areas? Then the minerals in the Indian Ocean. There are already issues that have come up with it. You get on to the question of trade, a question of sovereignty and security. Well, yes, we all feel it. The smaller states are getting hedged in. Take the example of Sri Lanka, now that you asked it. I know that I am the one who made a very positive statement about Americans being in Diogo Garcia in 1977. We've been involved in many activities, but nevertheless, we identified as the country that sold out Hambantota Harbour to the Chinese. Why is that? And we are the only Asian country that took part in Operation Prosperity Guardian. Others were frightened. We just said, go and take part in it. It's a matter of principle. So these are issues. The same thing we have to deal. We also have an agreement with India and Maldives. We work around it. Some of you will be going to the Maldives National Day. They'll tell you their problems are worse than us. So how do you manage it? Then when we had to put a research paper out on the survey ships, where some in China thought it's unfriendly act, so we get caught in between. How do we survive? We have what we call the balancing act. If you feel our security is under threat in our country, then everyone gets together to see how the balancing act is done. But I think it's much better if you sit down at the table and discuss these. So these are issues. I'm only give Sri Lanka as an example, but I was told to be controversial. So I thought I'll be controversial. But these are the issues that you have to discuss. And finally, trade. Indian Ocean has to decide whether we are going in for trade pacts or not. Especially with the reciprocal tariffs, we can see that India, US market is very close to us. The whole Washington consensus was on the basis, since I've been involved in it, that you get access to the US market. So that's out. On the other hand, tariff is not a good word as far as we are concerned, except for the finance ministries. We need the tariff to raise the additional revenue. So what do? We have, as far as East Asia is concerned, you've got RCEP, you've got the comprehensive and the progressive TPP, you've got ASEAN. And there's, of course, BRI. Now, Indian Ocean countries have been moving away. The Gulf Cooperation countries have very low tariffs, so there's no issue with them. But what do we do rest of the Indian Ocean countries? The Africans, okay, you have your agreements you're working out in the African Union. But for the rest of us, we have to decide, are we going to become a trading bloc? Or are we going to individually join RCEP, ASEAN and the others? So these are the issues that we have. And what I've done as far as Ganesh is concerned is to raise it and go ahead. As far as the cartography is concerned, our objective is to raise these issues and discuss it here in Sri Lanka. There is enough of knowledge in Sri Lanka. And we'll be asking, we have the Pathfinder, we have Advocate, others, we should get together and form a consortium where we have the knowledge, and that we here in Sri Lanka should also utilize it to the best of our ability, which will help discussing the problems, the geopolitics of the Indian Ocean. And that's for the future, but we hope we can discuss and launch the consortium. This is the start of it. We hope the other organizations here also will take this up, the different aspects, but make Sri Lanka a center where all that knowledge is available. So I won't take any more of your time, but just to thank you. And I hope there will be answers to the awkward questions that I was asked to raise.